Good morning, everyone. Had a rough start this morning, struggling just a little bit, but I have so many fun things to show you I didn't want to cancel our live video. We had a rough week last week with our Maximo, and Maximo is my little white Chihuahua, and I had him in my arms earlier, and I was going to show you Maximo, but after I took a couple pictures of him, he said, "Mama, I'm not having it a bit." And so he's laying over there on the bed, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But last week, I took the dogs to the vet for their typical, rabies shots and distemper and all that stuff. And they were, Rosie was fine. She did great. She's healthy. Even her teeth are good. But when they took Maximo back, he had a seizure, and then when they went to take his blood, they take it from their jugular vein, and for some reason he had a hematoma. Well, what that is that's just a bag of blood that forms inside your skin. Well, unfortunately, that clogged his airway, and so he passed out, and they had to give him oxygen, and it was just a big ordeal. And because of him stressing, he had a little heart attack, and so it tore his heart. And so now he has a heart murmur. So little Maximo, he's 11 years old, which isn't that old for Chihuahuas. Chihuahuas can live to be in their 20s. But little Maximo, we're just going to, he had a hard time with it. And so the vet said, dogs can live quite a few years with a heart murmur, but he's got some other health issues as well. And so we had to hold off getting his shots. So keep little Maximo in your thoughts and prayers, and we hope that he'll get better. He's eating and drinking now and doing the other things dogs do in the yard, you know what I mean? So he's doing pretty good. So then I get up this morning and my eyes are like swelled shut. I'm having major sinus issues and achy all over. And so I said, I cannot cancel our live video today. This is our time, you know? And so I just took that Dayquil, and hopefully it's kicking in, but I still have quite the headache. So if I don't laugh as loud or be quite as silly with myself, I'll try. I am pretty silly. So I just wanted to get that out front first off. And I will tell you I am coughing a bit. But don't worry, it's not contagious through the computer, right? See my cup? I've got my dog people rule cup today. Oh, I got it facing the wrong way. If you see it, there's got a little dog in there. I love this cup, but it's tall and narrow. And sometimes I butt myself in the nose. All right, well, let me say good morning to everybody, and we'll try to have us some fun. I see Caitlin and Paula and Melissa, Dana and Karen, Vivian, Marlene, and Joan. Some of you I may have missed, and I'm really sorry. Comment again, give me a thumbs up or a like, share the video if you want to, share it with your friends. All right, I see Paula and Linda, Tina, Amanda, there's Tina Louise, and Dana, Vicky, Karst, Marlene, Carol, Tina, Rolly, and did I say hello to Vivian? I can't remember. Well, good morning to everybody. There's still more of y'all clinking in. There's Vicky. And so I've got a lot of fun things I want to talk about today. That's why when I wasn't feeling that great this morning, I did not want to cancel. One thing I wanted to show you, and I was kind of disappointed in this, is my little earth pillow. This is Happy Little Earth. And with everything that happened last week, I didn't get this to the testers and get it back. So I'm still going to do this pattern. It's really cute. It's just a little pillow. And we tried to make it look a little bit like the earth and give it a silly smile. And it's a great little pillow if you want to talk to your kids or your grandkids about what they can do for the earth. Like cutting back on plastics and paper and different things like that. And I'm sure they talk about it at school as well. But it's fun to have a little pillow that's a reminder. And he's just a little silly face. So hopefully we'll get this done in the next couple of weeks. If not, it's never the wrong time to put out a little pillow like this, right? Because it's always important to worry about, not worry, we don't want to worry, but it's always important to be aware of what we can do for our earth. All right, so I just wanted you to see that it's coming, and I know yesterday was Earth Day, and I wanted to get it out, but with everything with Maximo last week, we weren't getting a lot of sleep, and he's doing this coughing thing, that's like I'm not gonna do it, but anyway, it makes it so you can't sleep at night, and I'm constantly touching him, like is he breathing, you know? So anyway, that happened. That didn't happen, but it's going to happen. Okay. So anyway, let me grab another little sip of coffee. And let's everybody go ahead and clink in. Because whether we're 100% or 5%, it's still a good day for coffee. Dog people rule. All right. Now, the one thing I wanted to talk to you about is, to begin with, is we've done the cross squares and we put them together in a blanket, and I hadn't got a chance to show you the trim. And I got probably 10 different, between emails and comments from YouTube to Ravelry to just emails asking me, are you going to show us what you did for your trim? So I'm going to go ahead and talk about that first, and then I'm going to talk about some new patterns and some new yarn that I found this week that I'm very excited about. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click down to the other camera here. And here you can see I've got my blanket. It's all put together. And I did I did 4 squares by 4 squares. And so I needed 4 by 4, which was 16. And it makes a nice size lap gan. It's a little bit bigger than some, but it's a nice size if you're just sitting there watching the television or you're sitting in the back of the car and you just want something warm on your lap. So what I did is, after I got all my squares together, I just did a simple row of single crochet all the way around my blanket, all the way on the edge. And I like to do that when I put squares together because it gives you something to work with instead of trying to decide where to put your stitches. All right, so that was the first thing that I did. The second thing I did is I added these shell stitches. And this is just a simple shell stitch. Let me pull that out so I can show you what I did. And so what I did is I joined my yarn in and I started with a single crochet. Then I skipped the next stitch, and then in the next single crochet I stitched 3 double crochets. And this is the simplest shell that you can make. And a lot of times I'll do 5 double crochets in my shell if I want a nice big shell, but I don't want this to be too ripply. I want it to have a little bit of a ripple look, but not real ripply, all right? Because this particular way that I do this can be used for any kind of blanket that you make. It's not too feminine, it's not too masculine, it's nice in between, and of course you can change colors as you want to. I did my initial row of single crochets in the white, and I'm using this mint green because I do have mint green in my blanket, and I just chose 3 colors that I have in my blanket for the trim. All right, so we did a single crochet, we skipped the next stitch, and then we did 3 double crochets. We skipped the next stitch, and then we single crochet. And you just repeat this all the way around your blanket. One thing to remember, let me finish this shell stitch real quick. 3 double crochets, skip the next, and single crochet in the next. When you do your single crochet row, you want to make sure that in the 4 corners of your blanket that you do 3 single crochets in those corners, just so that the edge of your single crochets go around nice and smoothly. Now when I did the shell stitches, I don't do that. I just keep going around, and I'm going to show you this part over here. I've already got the other part on, but I'm going to show you. I just continued working around. I didn't put those 3 stitches because you want it just to move smoothly. And if you put those 3 single crochets in your 4 corners, your shell stitch is going to move right around there really nicely. All right, so once I've got my shell stitches all the way around my blanket, one thing to keep in mind is you may not end up exactly perfect when you're doing around the edge of a blanket, and so you may have to add an extra space or take out an extra space, but don't let that panic you. If you get here and you have an extra single crochet, just skip over it. If you get here in your short one, go ahead and join in your single crochet. All right? That's one thing about putting a trim on a blanket. You never know if you're going to have the exact amount of stitches. All right, so once I got the shell stitches done, I did another little extra thing, and I really love doing this because it makes it look like they turn into little hearts and they lay really pretty. All right, so what I did is I joined into the first single crochet where after I joined my shell stitches. So there's a single crochet, and I'll take that out just so you can kind of get the idea. Single crochet, then I chained 2, then I single crochet in the middle double crochet of the shell. 1, 2, 3, so it's the second one, and we just single crochet, chain 2, and then we single crochet in the next single crochet. Chain 2 and repeat. Single crochet in the center double crochet, chain 2 and single crochet in the single crochet. And I really love this trim. Let me turn this so you can see. Isn't that pretty? It looks like little hearts, sort of, not exactly, but they're still really cute. And any colors that you choose, this looks really pretty in, and it works for boys and girls and men and women and anybody who you're making a blanket for. In any colors, it looks beautiful. And that is my favorite trim to do on any kind of blanket, especially the ones that I piece together with squares. And I like doing that particular one. I'm going to move this out of the way because I've got a lot more things to show you. There we go. I like doing that one because you can take the 3 colors, but you can do it all in one color if you want to, or 2 colors. But I like to use 3 different colors that I have going on in the blanket. And especially when you're doing squares, it just ties it all in together. And if you wanted to do another row, you could. You could just put more shells in the single crochet ones and then do your single crochet in the shell and then repeat. Super easy to do. So I just wanted to show you that. I had a lot of questions, and so I thought I would go ahead and show you that. And even though it looks really pretty with that blanket, it really does look great on a lot of different things. All right, let me pop my glasses on so I can see my notes. All right, so we talked about Earth Day, and then I showed you that blanket trim. All right, now the next thing I want to show you is some of the things that we did this week. Now, this is the mandala sparkle that I used. It's called Draco. It's one of my favorites because to me it looks like unicorn poop. Remember those cookies? I don't know if you've ever made them, but you make a rainbow and you swirl them around. That's what that looks like, and it's sparkly. Look at that sparkle. All right, so previously I had done the pattern for the convertible. My brain is on freeze mode because of these sinus medications. I did the convertible head scarf or neck scarf, and so I thought I would go ahead and update the pattern, which we did, and do it with the mandala sparkle, and it turned out gorgeous. You can wear this around your neck if you want to, and you can also wear it as a headband. And I love wearing these because they're only about 4 inches. And if you can make, this is a 3 weight. You can also do it with a 4 weight and make the same thing. It makes it just a little bit wider, a little bit longer, not very much, a little thicker, but it still works perfectly. And I called it the convertible scarf, head scarf or scarf, because I love to wear them when I'm out in our convertible with my husband and the wind's blowing my hair everywhere. I can tie that on, hold my hair back. Even though it's in a clip, it keeps those strings out of your face, because that's the thing that annoys me. And then if we stop and get lunch somewhere, because we love going up in the Rocky Mountains and just driving around, and then we stop try to find some quaint little place and have lunch or supper, depending on the time of the day, or breakfast, I can take the scarf down, put it down here and straighten up my hair, and then that scarf's not on, but it still looks pretty on all the time. So anyway, that's one we did. We updated the pattern, and it's super simple. You can see it's just double crochets and chain 2s, and then I showed you how to make the ends have a point so it looks like a fun, kind of a hippie scarf, and I kind of like that. So anyway, that's one thing we did. We did that video, updated the pattern on the blog, and it's got new pictures, and that's what we try to do. We're going through a lot of my older patterns, updating the pattern with new pictures and new photo tutorials, making sure we add extra information, and then making a new video. And that's one we did this week. Another one that we did this week is it's called the Easy Peasy Lemon Squeezy Water Bottle Cozy. And since that name was so long, I changed it. It's just the Easy Water Bottle Cozy. And they're super easy to make, until I had that outside. There was a leaf on it. This is a 16 ounce, and you can also make it into a 20 ounce. And you just make it a little bit taller. And they work great. And if you want the handles longer, you make them as long as you want to. And I love these. I'm one of those people that always has a water bottle with them. It's kind of funny because every time we leave the house, I'm like, do I need my coffee cup or do I need my water bottle? How long are we going to be? And plus, I always have water for the dogs when we're walking and stuff. And I just scoop my hand up, put some water in it from my water bottle, and I'll just lick it right out of my hand. And so I always have water with me, and I love these. And someone said they had a hard time with cotton, that it bleeds. And I have to tell you, I have never had any of my cottons bleed. And I was worried one time because I made a big doily type thing. It's more like just a decorative thing for my dining room table, and it was bright red. And I thought, oh, this is probably going to bleed. And what I do to keep cotton from losing its color is when I first wash it, after I make the item, not before I make the item, I put it in a soak in the sink in cold water with a couple tablespoons of white distilled vinegar and a teaspoon of salt. And I just put it all in there. And I know you think, oh, the salt's not going to dissolve in the cold water or the other. It does. And I just stick it in the sink in the kitchen or in the bathroom, wherever I want. And I leave it soak like all afternoon. Then I rinse it and throw it in the laundry. And I've never, ever had any of mine bleed. Now, sometimes you'll lose a little bit of color from use, especially if you're scrubbing a lot. You know, some of my washcloths are not as bright and crisp as they used to be, just because I've used probably cleansers on them. But for the most part, I have never had them bleed in the wash by doing it that way. So that's just a little note for you. The other thing we did was yesterday. Hang on 2 seconds. I'm trying to catch the cough before it gets to me. Yesterday we did Granny in the Corner. And this is square number 4. We've done January, February, March, and this is April. Square number 4, Granny in the Corner. And what we did on this is we used our skill, how we learned how to make a basic granny square, and our skill, how we learned how to fill in and make a solid granny square, put them together for a fun and silly Granny in the Corner. I love it. It's one of my favorites that we've done so far. Now, if you want to know, and I know I've said this often, but I still get questions a lot. If you want to know the schedule of when each month's square is coming out, there are 2 things there are actually 3 things you can do. Here on Facebook, you can click where it says blog. And at the top of the blog, there are all these little tabs. And one of them says Grandtastic 2019 Crochet Along. Click that, and that will take you to the page that has all the videos and the schedule of when the new patterns for each month are going to come out. Another thing that you can do is, if you're on YouTube, go to the playlist. Again, my playlist, or you can search Grandtastic Crochet Along. And all those videos will come up. Watch the very first video, and there'll be a link underneath that video that'll show you that same page where you can find all the updates and when the date even of each month, when the new pattern will come out for each month, or the new square for each month. All right. We tried to do them mostly on the 3rd Monday of every month. Some of the months where there are 5 Mondays, we might have done them on the 4th, because we're kind of trying to do the second to last Monday of every month. And so it moves a little, like in April, it was the 4th Monday instead of the 3rd. But don't get frustrated. There's lots of places where you can get information, all right? You can always find it on my blog. You can also find it on Ravelry. We have the Crochet Along listed on Ravelry. And again, just put in Grantastic Crochet Along. And the link for that page is right there on that information page as well. So there's lots of places you can find that information if you're looking for it. Okay? All right, now let's talk a little bit. I'm just looking through here, see if there's any questions. Let's see. All right. Kimberly says nobody puts Granny in the corner. We did, didn't we? Well, you know what? My mom was always called Granny, and there were some ornery times I wanted to put her in the corner. That's okay. She had a great ornery streak. All right, let's talk a little bit about yarn. Now, last week I showed you all the great deal that I got on all that mandala, or mandola, as the lady said, yarn. But I said, they need to come up with a cotton. Well, I did remember that they have this cotton blend, and this is called Comfy Cotton Blend. It's a number 3, but I'll be honest with you, it looks more like a number 4 to me. And so I would probably use my H hook opposed to an I hook. I think it calls for a J. I think that's too big. Just my opinion. Okay, now the blend is 50% cotton and 50% polyester. I am a fan of mixing cotton and poly together because cotton is absorbent, but poly holds its shape well, and it also holds the color well. And I think this is really pretty. This is one. I've got actually a blanket that I'm going to put. I have a wooden bench that is a toy box that I keep toys in for when my grandkids come over. And I'm making a blanket for it. You can see I've got some of it going on right there. I'm making a top and a bottom, and then I'm going to put a pillow inside. Anyway, using this, and I believe this is called Fireside. Yes. Okay, but my question was, this is absolutely beautiful, and I even have a white one and lots of different bright purples and colors now, but they're not ombre or change in color. They're more of a variegated, right? And so what I did is I was at Michael's. I was looking for one particular yarn, and I found this. And what Karen has done, Karen Yarnspirations, Cotton Cakes, check this out. They've taken their smaller ones and they've made them into bigger ones. And look at those color changes. Isn't that pretty? And this is a 4. And if you'll notice, I wanted to show you this just in comparison. If I can hold both of these up here. The yarns for both of these, he lost his skin. Okay, they look actually the same. Hey, I'm going to, just to make it a little easier for you to see, let's click down to this other camera real quick. We'll move this stuff out of the way. Here is the cotton, Comfy Cotton Blend, and they're calling this a 3, okay? Here is this cotton, and they're calling this a 4, and look at these. This one looks thinner than this one. And that's why it's really important to slide that back in, put his clothes back on. That's why it's really important to really look at it, because there's within the weights is what they're called. You know, they start at 0, go all the way up to I think 8 now. And that has to do with the thickness of the yarn, not how much it weighs. But it's important to understand there is wiggle room between those weights. And what one person views as a 4, another person might view as a 5 or a 3. And so that's something to keep in mind when you're crocheting. I really love this. I think these colors are really nice, and I'm really excited to work with this. I did want to show you, here we go, that this is also not 100% cotton. This is 60% cotton and 40% acrylic. All right. So, and if you're wondering about acrylic and polyester, they are not exactly the same, but they're similar and act similar. Their composition is a little bit different. And you'll have to look that up. Maybe that's something that we'll talk about in a couple of weeks, because it is something that I want to address. So anyway, this one, the Karen Cotton Cake that has the big color changes, I purchased this at Michael's with my coupon. So I had a 40% off, so I think it was like 2 something. Use your coupons. Okay, this one I purchased at Walmart, and I had never seen it anywhere else but Walmart. Okay, I haven't seen it at Michael's. I haven't been to Joann's lately. It might have been there. It might be there. And this one I believe was $4.97, I think. Okay, and this one has 7 ounces, and this one has 8.8 ounces. So those are things to keep in mind when you're doing your cotton projects. We're going to be talking a little bit more about cotton and, like I said, some of the composition of yarn, but also some things we can do in the summertime to keep our crochet habit going. It is an addiction and a habit for me because I love yarn, I love crocheting, and I just really, really, really don't want to stop, you know. And I have lots of fun projects that we're going to do through the summer. Through this, finish off the spring and then through the summer. And, you know, then towards the end of summer, we start thinking about, you know, what we can do for winter coming because, you know, you got to keep ahead of the cycle. All right. So there's a lot there. We did a lot. We talked a lot. And thank you all for putting up with me today since I don't feel all that wonderful. You all make my day. You really do. I'm going to look through here, see if there's any questions. Okay. Let's see. Put his clothes back on. I did. I put his clothes back on. Let's see. All right. Kimberly's clinking out. She says, going to play Yahtzee. That sounds like a lot of fun. All right. All right. So, let me click over here real quick. See if we got Maximo. There he is. There's my boy. All right. So, like I said, keep Maximo in your thoughts and prayers, and hopefully he's on the mend. He's doing a lot better. I didn't want to show him to you because his neck was just really huge and swelled with that hematoma, but he's doing a lot better now. So we got to keep him close because we can't get his collar on yet. But anyway, I'm glad you're all here with me today. And as usual, and you know it, I can't do this without you. Thank you for being a part of my live videos, Posh Pooch Designs, my blog, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you follow me on. Thank you. And if you don't follow me in all those places, you can. We'll see you next week.